everybody, my name's Melissa and welcome back to my writing channel, Hopeful Happenings. Today we're talking about 7 common writing mistakes in English grammar. This is a collaboration video with author Angela Ann talking about common writing mistakes. Make sure you watch until the end of this video to find out what Angela will be covering in hers. I've got 7 common mistakes that I've seen, and in no particular order, here they are. Number 1, not putting a comma in a compound sentence. So an independent clause is a clause that can stand by itself. For example, the girl jumped into the puddle. When you put 2 independent clauses together in the same sentence, it's called a compound sentence. And you'll combine these independent clauses with either a conjunction or a semicolon. And the mistake is people are forgetting to put a comma after the first independent clause. So instead of the girl jumped into the puddle and ran inside without wiping her feet, it's the girl jumped into the puddle, comma, and she ran inside without wiping her feet. Number 2, pronoun references that are too vague. A pronoun replaces a noun. He, she, it, that. A vague pronoun reference is when you write a sentence that's confusing as to what you are referencing. For example, when Susan found her sister, she was so happy. Who's happy? Susan or the sister? Here's one way we could rewrite this to avoid that vague pronoun reference. Susan was so happy when she found her sister. Number 3, run-on sentences. A run-on sentence is when you combine 2 complete sentences without adding a conjunction or the proper punctuation. Here are a couple examples. Look out for run-on sentences by being aware of having more than one idea in the same sentence that contains independent clauses. Number 4, faulty parallelism. I see this one all the time everywhere. I especially saw it back in the day when I worked as a TA for an English professor. It's a very common mistake when you're writing an essay. Faulty parallelism is when 2 or more parts of a sentence are similar, but they're not grammatically similar. For example, in a list you might see this. This year I want to learn juggling, cooking, bakery, and editor. When really it should be this year I want to learn juggling, cooking, baking, and editing. Here's another. My New Year's goals: wake up early, running twice a week, home repairs. But the correct way for this to be parallel is wake up early, run twice a week, create home repairs. Does that make sense? Number 5, comma splice. This is probably the grammar mistake that I make the most, mostly out of laziness. Comma splices are when 2 complete sentences are joined by a comma when they should be either 2 separate sentences or have a semicolon. It's especially common when using transitional words like however or nevertheless. For example, I wanted to tell him the truth, however, it didn't feel right to tell him the family secret. We should have a semicolon in there and then a comma, because since we're cutting it off as a new sentence, you'll need a comma after an introductory phrase. Here's another easier example. She was tired, she fell asleep right away. This comma splice might be easier if it was just 2 separate sentences. She was tired, period. She fell asleep right away. Number 6, sentence fragments. I'm sure you see this all the time, especially when you're writing casual emails or texting. Sentence fragments are sentences that don't have an independent clause. They're lacking a verb, a subject, or both. For example, she gave him her note, then waited for the answer. Here's the fragment, and to fix it in this instance, we'll add a comma. Number 7, subject-verb agreement errors. Subject and the verb of a sentence must agree, which means that if one is singular, the other is singular. If one is plural, the other must be plural. Let's look at another example. The most delicious fruits in the bowl was the peach and the nectarine. Here's our subject, and our verb is was. It doesn't match. One is singular, one is plural. So to make it match, we'll fix the sentence like this. The most delicious fruits in the bowl were the peach and the nectarine. Bonus tip! My chair is squeaking every time I move. I thought I'd add one more mistake in here for you, just so that you can be aware and get it out of your writing. And that is having too many prepositional phrases. Prepositions show location, direction, or time. When you accidentally add too many, you're being redundant and the sentence is going to feel wordy. Hang it at the top of the room on the ceiling. It may not seem like a big deal, but once you cut out those extra prepositional phrases, it's much cleaner and precise. Hang it on the ceiling. See the difference? Well, there you have it. There are 8 mistakes that writers make in grammar. If you'd like to see more videos like this, I have another video about newbie writing mistakes that you should check out. And don't forget, this was a collaboration video with author Angela Ann. She's covering the content side of writing mistakes, like depending too much on dialogue, passive characters, and more. So if you want to check out her video, click on the link below. Thanks, Angela, for joining me in this collaboration, and thank you for watching. I post once a week on YouTube, and I post daily on Instagram, sharing more writing tips there and giving you insight into my debut middle grade pirate adventure novel, Sea of Kings, which you can pre-order right now from Barnes & Noble, from Jellyfish Press. I'll have all those links down below, or you can subscribe to my newsletter and get updates on when I'll have goodies coming out, including advanced reader copies. So we'll see you next week. Bye.